Continuing with the Easy Fixes series, I'm going to talk a little bit about shoulder internal rotation. Okay, so what that means is the shoulder joint can either be externally rotated, meaning I'm opening it, or I'm internally rotating it, which means I'm kind of slouching it. Okay, so you'll see sometimes that, and how you know whether you have internal rotation issues or not is because that scapula, angel wings off, it sticks out. Okay, I wrote a whole article on angel wing and how to fix it via face pull exercising, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about an easy fix, or something that you can do more frequently to try to keep that position or try to fix it. Okay, so shoulder internal rotation, a good way to check is if your thumb, if while letting your hands be relaxed, if your thumbs tend to point at each other, they should somewhat point at each other. But if I just take my hands and I drop them, for me, my thumbs just happen to land mostly forward. People that have internal rotation issues, their thumbs will face like this. Okay, so let your arms dangle, drop them. If they all of a sudden just land like this, you have internal rotation issues of your shoulder. That can mean you can have pinched shoulders, you can have shoulder impingement, you get all kinds of stuff that can happen long term. People that feel pinching on the bench press, stuff like that, that can be an internal rotation issue. So if you have serious pain in your shoulder though, however, go have a physiotherapist take a look at it. This is just for, achy shoulders, or if you notice in your posture that your shoulder tends to be turned in and down. Okay, I'm going to be dealing with shoulder protraction or slouching later. So in shoulder internal rotation, there can be a lot of reasons why the biceps can be tight. The muscle, if this is pec major, okay, so the chest muscle, and the fibers run this way from my sternum out towards my arm, okay, so they run horizontal. There's what's called pec minor, and that's underneath this big chest muscle, okay, and it runs a lot more vertical. Now, pec minor helps stabilize the shoulder amongst other things, but it can tend to pull the shoulder down when it's tight. Okay? So down meaning that internal rotation. I've yet to meet too many guys that actually do a lot of chest pressing that don't have that pec minor be really, really tight. So you can address it a few different ways. Just for sake of argument, to keep it really easy, I'm going to show you a pec minor stretch. Okay? So traditional chest stretch, that doorway stretch, I would be taking a 90-degree angle on my elbow. It's fully supported. From there, I may take the ribs and just stretch. Now, the thing about a typical chest stretch is that I'm stretching this way. Okay, the muscles are being stretched because I'm taking this area and I'm closing that angle. So therefore, I'm going to be stretching pec major and maybe a little bit of the front delt a lot more than I ever would be pec minor. So to accomplish pec minor, being that it's a vertical running muscle, I need to change how I'm going to stretch this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this post on a higher grip up here, okay? And now my body's running more vertical. What I'm going to do to stretch that is I'm going to sort of hang down, possibly out, away from the post. Okay? So instead of turning away from it, which would again be pec major, I'm going to grab the post, hang down, and a little bit away from it. So right now I can feel that vertical running stretch. Okay? I'm going to show that from the back. I'm going to grab the post, hang down, possibly out. So you want to see yourself drop, lean forward. It should instantly feel better. Some people have no pec minor issues. They'll get up here, they'll be like, ooh, that's really tight because that's pec major. They'll go here, they'll feel nothing. Okay, so for the people that feel it that way, just ignore this drill. For people that do have that pec minor tension, when you feel it, when you drop and go out a little bit, what I'm going to follow that with, okay, so now that I've stretched that muscle, I need to deal with retraction and somewhat external rotation of the shoulder. Best drill, easiest drill, because you can do it anywhere, is called a wall slide. So over here. So I'm going to take any wall. Okay. To perform a wall slide, there are a bunch of different ways to do it, but it's basically to assess how much I can open the body, okay, and posture it. Now, if you have really serious internal rotation issues, and I've dealt with quite a few people that do, the wall slide drill is almost too difficult. Okay, so I'll show you the easier version after. Now, what I'm going to do, it really doesn't matter that your feet are right against the wall. They should be fairly close. First things first, I'm going to put my butt against the wall, my shoulder blades against the wall, my elbows against the wall, and then next my hands. Hopefully even the wrists. Now some people, they can't get this far, they can't get that low. Instead, I'm going to start with my elbows high and here. So right now I have my head, my shoulders, my butt, my elbows, my wrists, and my hands against the wall. So as much of your body against your wall as possible. Now, if you get here and you're all of a sudden you're like this, okay, where you can't get your hands back, you've got some serious internal rotation issues, and you may need some physical therapy. Okay, the wall slide drill can help a little bit. Okay, so if I'm here and I can get there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide out and away, kind of like a lat pull down, and I'm going to try to drive my elbows towards my hips or down into my back pockets as much as possible. Now, I'm trying to stay again against the wall. If I happen to come off the wall because my internal rotation doesn't let me stay back, then I shouldn't be going that range of motion. So what I mean by that is I would go to only where my hands can stay on the wall. Slide up and down. Take your time, don't rip through this. Okay. So my range of motion personally, I can go almost the full way. I feel quite a bit in that puck minor area because I do sleep on my side, so I have some internal rotation. Now, as far as the wall slide goes, I always joke, go until your arms fall off. You're not going to get more than 20-30 reps of this drill anyway, so do 20 to 30 reps of it. Don't be putting excessive arch in your lower back. Don't be so far away from the wall. Don't compensate in any of these easy fix drills. So, for the person who got against the wall and they couldn't get their shoulder or their hands back because they were so internally rotated, then what you need to do is you need to face the wall. So, I'm going to go as close to the wall as I can. I'm going to put my hands on the wall. Now, being that this is in front of my body, I am automatically in a much easier position than I would be if I had to be back here on a traditional wall slide. Okay? So putting myself in the front of the body is a good start if you have serious shoulder internal rotation. So, close to the wall, same drill. I'm going to slide up, slide down, slide up, slide down. Can I keep my elbows, my chest, my nose, if you want, against the wall and go through a good range of motion? Okay? This is going to teach your body that when you pull down, you're not having to internally rotate. Okay? If I'm forced to keep my elbow into the wall as I'm sliding down, I'm already somewhat externally rotating my arm. Does that make sense? So if I'm here and I've got my elbow against the wall, and as I come away, my elbow tends to go away, then I'm forcing or working at keeping my elbow externally rotated, okay? Because basically that's how external rotation works. So give it a try. Always stretch pec minor first. It's not a bad idea to do some self-myofascial release in the bicep and the chest area. There's a video on that if you want to go check that out. But then immediately get to these wall slides, okay? As much of your body against the wall as possible, 20 to 30 reps or until your arms fall off. If you can't keep your arms against the wall while doing that, you need to flip it around and work at it from the front until eventually you can put your back against the wall. Any questions, guys? Let me know.